I always love it when junky antique shops go out of business. I mean, it's a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. It's a good thing because they were trying to sell junk for way too much money for way too many years. And then they finally gave out. But the bad part is that usually they don't see value in what are genuinely antiques, so they'll just send it off to dumpsters. This was no exception here. This was sending off for scrap metal. What is this giant contraption? Well, I didn't think too much about it until I looked at the badge. Target holding mechanism, manufactured in April of 1960. And I had this wire here, and then I had dust caps and other covers here. This one's just fuses, very abused fuses, and this one here is just 3 pins. So what this is that, you know how like in video game target practice and stuff like that, you have like the target swings down or swings up or whatever, and then you shoot it and it swings itself away again? This is that box, but it's a portable version of it. So it's supposed to plug into, and someone's been very nice here, AC 110 volts. And it goes into this connector here. They've even marked where our grounds are. That's kind of nice. What's inside of this? Well, as you can see, I've already taken a peek inside already. There's a bajillion bolts to hold the thing closed because it is sealed. It actually has a nice boot on this thing as well for this arm. But to save us time, I've taken this relatively heavy panel off. And this is what's inside. 1960s logic and electronics. So AC comes in. We have this giant transformer here, which is providing 12 volts AC for this motor. And then we have 2 contactors and a relay, which are controlling motor power and motor direction. And while we do have 2 solid-state objects here, diodes, we do still have a selenium rectifier, which is being used for something. Presumably it's being used for DC signaling. These are DC solenoids in the contactors. I have no idea. But you see these little terminals right here? Well, give me a moment to just flip this whole thing around. Those insulated terminals go to these push terminals on the outside. And I think it's pretty easy to decode what U, C, and D do. C is going to be your common signal point for the relay. This here is going to arrange your contactors to raise the arm. And this one here is going to lower it. I don't know what L is. It is insulated, first off. Second off, that wiring runs off and goes to one of these fuses and then disappears into this area here, which is marginally high voltage. I'm really not sure. But everything else here seems to be in okay condition. So I say, at the risk of blowing up the selenium rectifier, which if I can get that on camera, that'd be cool, let's just supply 120 volts. I can see where the wiring goes in here. It was marked. Shouldn't be that difficult. Okay, we are wired in with our ground attached. We are plugged in, and we have our foot pedal right here for safety. So let's do this. 1, 2, 3. And that's why you have the foot pedal. I hear a transformer. The arm has dropped down. Interesting. Okay, well, other than old electronics smell, I don't smell anything burning. Foot on the pedal. And I've attached something onto these terminals, so I said, raise? Oh yeah, okay, let's see that full way. That's cool. Yeah, alright, so that works totally fine. Check out how the motor here, it is actually, I do have my foot off the pedal, how it's on this pivot point right here in this nice cast piece. This is all really well thought out. So, as we can see there, we have an end-stop switch here, which turns it off when it's in the down position. And then, when it raises, it'll extend until it goes to this adjustable switch here as well. Cool. Oh, the switches. I wonder, let me pedal on. Let's raise. There we go. Do I just have to... I wonder if you clip these to the target so it senses when you've shot it. That's exactly what it does. There we go. Put that up again. And you're seeing that. Just takes a somewhat gentle tap and down it goes. Okay, cool. I think what I will do is obviously change the power connector, maybe look into changing that selenium rectifier with a more modern bridge rectifier. I don't think anything in here is going to complain too much about that. And sure, we'll still have these terminals here for raising or lowering, but what if I buy one of those cheap 2-channel, like, off the boat from China wireless remote control sets, so then I can raise and lower from a remote control? I mean, it still doesn't answer the question, what am I going to do with it? I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but how often do you get access to a rather nice and weatherproof, high-torque, raising, lowering motor system with relay-driven controls? Not a common thing. It's got handles, too. Like, astoundingly well built. But then again, this is military quality stuff from the 1960s, presumably. What else was going to be using olive green in that style of badging? I'm not really sure if people have ever actually noticed, but just because a video comes out any one particular week doesn't mean I've spent all week working to make that video. Sometimes I have to wait. That AliExpress remote control system showed up, so this just takes 120 volts up to 240 volts in, and with 2 jumpers here, I have 2 relay channels, which either push on, push off, or push for momentary on-off, or really whatever you want. All the relay contacts are available on this terminal strip. I paid like $25 Canadian after shipping for this, and I paid a little bit more because I wanted to get this beast of a remote control here. But as you can see, it is now wired up. Power goes in. This is our common signal wire right here, which goes down to that terminal. And I had to route these 2 lines over to the open, raise, and lower controls, because if I went around the transformer, it was actually getting an inductive signal, so I had to move it to the other side. Interestingly, this remote control actually works with this whole thing closed up. I mean, it's not a nice metal gasket, but it still gets at least 150 feet of range. Here, let me show you. Okay, so there it is, all closed up, tucked away there because I haven't stuck it in at all. But, so, there is a red LED in there to say that it's on, it's powered on, it's live. Here's our remote control, and as a result, if I want to raise it, there you go. And if I hit it again, it does nothing. If I want to lower it, there we go. Harmless fun.